Da 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 da. Hello and welcome back to Japan Game Junk. This time I'd like to explain a little bit about how you also can create your own game collection, hopefully organized a bit better than mine, when you're here in Japan, and how to pick up many things for very low prices. So, the first thing I would like to do is give the advice on to not to avoid Akihabara, the most famous place for older games in Japan, or used games in Japan. But of course, go there to experience it and enjoy it. But it is the place where you're likely to find the highest prices, and really the only reason a collector would go there, other than to have fun doing so, and I do go there a couple times a month. That would be to find things that literally are impossible to find anywhere else, which is very difficult. I think almost anything you can find elsewhere in the country, and at a lower price. So, most people who know about old games in Japan, retro games, used games, will know about the store called Super Potato, which takes up 3 floors of a building in Akihabara. And yeah, it's interesting to go there to look around, but only once have I ever found a game there that I found that would be, I'd say, cheaper than I could have found elsewhere, even in the same area, let alone anywhere else in the country. That was a copy of Pac-Land for the PC Engine, loose card that was a bit cheaper. But usually, again, things there are going to be a bit more expensive. They get by on, mostly tourists who don't know much else. If you go there, you'll see that foreigner to Japanese ratio is kind of high for people who are non-Japanese. So, if you are looking for better places for your games, there are 3 places I would recommend for most people to go. The first is going to be Surugaya. Or I should say slower, Surugaya perhaps. A chain that originated in Shizuoka Prefecture. However, now it has nationwide stores and is available everywhere, including in Akihabara, but all over the place. And for people who are looking for games of all generations, they're pretty good for that, especially the larger stores. The largest store is the original one, which is in Shizuoka City. Going there, you'll find that they have the most things that are very cheap. I've picked up some PC Engine CD games there for about 100 yen, less than $1. And it's worth going if you're in the area. However, the one that has the best deals and the most treasures to find, I found is the one that's in the Minato Midai area of Yokohama. That one I have found many really good things for, again, it's criminally low prices. My best one was probably a PC Engine and PC Engine CD in the suitcase interface unit. I found one there that was complete except no AC adapter. And that was for 1,000 yen. It was untested as it did not have the AC adapter, and picked it up. I knew it could have been junk, but it was an incredibly good deal. So, about $8 perhaps at the time for working PC Engine and PC Engine CD and interface unit, and I happen to already have the adapter myself, so that was a very good find. Also, another visit there, I got back when it was very new, actually, the game for Xbox One, Kingdom Come Deliverance, the deluxe edition they had there. It was the foreign version, and thus there was no Japanese on it, and so that was 100 yen, about 80 cents, when it was still particularly new. So things like that you can find oftentimes. I found at the Yokohama store, but there is a chance to find things like that at any of the stores. The next store chain that I would recommend is called Hard Off, the inappropriately, unfortunately named Hard Off, which is part of the Off chain of stores. There's Hard Off for hardware, Off House for household goods, Hobby Off for figures and toys and things like that, Mode Off for clothes, Garage Off for car manufactured things, your accessories for driving. And the Off selection of stores is a lot of fun, and they're everywhere. You'll find them mostly in the Niigata area, Niigata Prefecture, where the base is. And yeah, the best stores are there as well. Although the whole Hokushin-etsu area, which includes Niigata as well as Nagano prefectures, they have a lot of good hard-offs there. I found some good things at those stores also. So, hard-off is known for having their junk section, which is where I've picked up quite a bit, obviously, as being a junk series. And the thing with junk in Japan is it does not mean that it's not working. It doesn't mean garbage. In Japan, used things, used items often look untouched by human hands. Used goods usually have a warranty, and they are treated as being, as being guaranteed. And so, usually, if you have a junk game, that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It just means that it looks very used. It looks very worn. There may not be a guarantee that it works, but almost always it will work. So yeah, it's not something to be scared of, and I do like junk. It's fun to look through the junk and see what they have. Usually they're going to be in these plastic buckets in the junk section of the store. It's a lot of fun to look at the hard-off junk. So anyway, you can find these stores everywhere. Again, the best ones I feel are in Niigata and in Nagano prefectures, but again, they're everywhere. As I've mentioned before, Akihabara is fun, but the worst one isn't Akihabara. Anyway, it's a good place to see. But probably the place that's least known to foreigners are the Kanteidan stores. Kanteidan means auction house in Japanese, and there are many stores that are huge, the size of a football field, out in the suburbs or in the rural areas, which have huge amounts of used stock, clothing, electronics, games, of course, media of different types, and all of these things are so much fun. You go through there and you can spend hours looking through these stores. The most popular chains are called Mandai Shoten, which is based in Yamanashi but has places all over eastern Japan, and also a Guruguru Kanteidan that is a bit smaller but also places all over eastern Japan as well. But there are similar stores of different names all over the place, and they're all a lot of fun to look through. You can find a lot of stuff there, but it's very hit or miss as far as retro stuff especially. There are other stores that are similar to these, such as Seagold, which is in northeastern Japan, around Miyagi, for example, which is famous for having their loose discs, which nicely scratched up for you. But yeah, you can get a stack full for a very cheap amount of money of loose discs, for example. So yeah, there are many options out there, but unfortunately, it's difficult for someone who's a tourist who might be sticking to the major urban areas. So what I'll recommend to someone who's looking to come to Japan for the purpose of finding old games or stocking up on cheap electronics, for example, is to have access to a car. I can't expect everyone to buy a car in Japan if you don't live here, but perhaps to get a car rental, or if you know someone who has a car, to plan out trips using that. What I enjoy doing and how I first got started with this, first moving to this area where I am now, is I would find my stores I liked, I would map them out, maybe have a two-way going there and going back route planned, and I would just go through, and I would go to each store on the route. I would not buy anything on the way there, but I'd keep notes on what was available there and what I might want to get. And then upon reaching the last store, anything there that I wanted I would buy, and then I would come back the same route that I would travel to go there on that leg, and buy everything that I found that I had wanted. Luckily, nothing I ever wanted was ever purchased while I was away, and I could get all the deals that I wanted to get. Unfortunately, when I first started doing this, I did it more for money and for my own business than I did for my own enjoyment back in 2004. And so, yeah, I used to buy things for American video game sites to resell in the US, and so many of the things that I found that I wish I had now. I've had a couple Neo Geo CD-Z systems, to Panasonic Q GameCube systems, to standard Neo Geo ROM systems. I don't have one of those right now, and many things that I wish I had again that I wish I could find for the cheap prices I had before, but the prices on everything has gone up quite a bit since then, and yeah. As an example, one of the things I did keep for myself was my first Mega CD. I had a Mega CD and a Mega Drive combo that I picked up at Hardoff for 300 yen. And for a working, Mega CD system where I just had to use my own, AC adapters, that was a huge find. I'm glad I still have that. But yeah, it's really, really easy to find lots of great deals. But again, out a bit in the boonies, a bit in the suburbs, the rural areas. Find a day when you can go out in a certain place and just have an adventure. If you're a tourist, couple that with doing some other sightseeing stuff, and you'll have a good time. Again, you can find some good stuff. You can have a good time in Tokyo, but yeah, get out of Tokyo, and you'll find a lot of stuff, especially in North Kanto, in Tohoku, and in Hokushiatsu, that you'll really, really find to be much value to you, I guess. Anyway, it's coming up a bit past 11 minutes now, and thank you for tolerating the way I speak very strangely. Hope you could learn a couple things, but yeah, remember, Surugaya, the Hardoff chain, the Kanteidan stores, and get a bit out of Tokyo, and have access to a car, and you can really stock up on stuff. And yeah, hope you enjoy your search through the junk of Japan. And yeah, sometimes I don't really know what to say to finish up, so I guess I should just hit the stop button. And an addendum to the last thing I just recorded. So I did want to give a bit of warning that when you're going out and about, a lot of people I've seen online like to record their travels of buying things in Japan, especially at Hardoff stores. I've seen a lot of videos on that. Please don't do that. Many stores will have signs posted saying that they welcome social messaging. Social networking, taking videos, taking pictures. If that's the case, then enjoy. But if that's not there, it's an incredibly rude thing to do in Japan. It's poor etiquette, and you're really causing people problems whether or not you know it. So please, if you're going to be doing this, don't record everything you see, and before recording anything at all, check inside the store. If there is no sign, assume they don't want you to do it. Reminds me of my first time I was in an electronics store when I was studying abroad in Kyoto back in 2002. And there was a store there called Ninomiya, which had a good used game section. And I remember I was there with a very poor at the time, of course. It was 2002, a digital camera. Taking pictures of things I thought I would look up later to see if I wanted to buy them. And I go there a week later to buy the things I had found, and they had many poorly translated in English signs with a camera with a line through it saying, no photography here at the store. And obviously, I had caused the problem, and I had been the reason that they'd put the sign up. So, you don't want to be that to other people here. So, again, be very good with that. And tangent, Ninomiya, which is now long closed, unfortunately, had the best theme song for any company ever in the history of the world. A doo-wop song with the backing vocals, but a woman singing passionately about the great service that she got when she bought a washing machine at Ninomiya. It's a fantastic theme song that's available on YouTube, and I downloaded it because I'll never want to forget that for the rest of my life. The wonderful Ninomiya theme song. Please, try to find the wonderful Ninomiya theme song. It's great if you're interested in corporate culture especially. Anyway, just wanted to let you know to have good etiquette when going out to buying things. Don't record everything you see unless you have permission / if there's a sign saying it is okay. And if you see people who've done that, please maybe, if you have any contact with them, tell them, hey, it's not a very nice thing to do. Anyway, that's it again. So, thanks for tolerating my poor speaking skills, and see you with the real game coverage. Da 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 da.